First up, the Washington quarter from 1980 with a D mint mark. Could you be holding a valuable piece of history in your pocket or coin jar? Stick around to find out just how much your 1980 D Washington quarter might be worth in today's market. First off, let's talk about what makes the 1980 D Washington quarter special. The D mint mark means this coin was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the US Mint's key facilities. But what makes a 1980 D quarter valuable? Well, it comes down to condition, rarity, and collector demand. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. It replaced the standing Liberty quarter and quickly became a staple of U.S. coinage. For decades, it was struck in 90% silver until 1965, when the Coinage Act changed the composition to copper-nickel clad due to rising silver prices. By 1980. All quarters, including our 1980 D, were copper-nickel clad. So unlike older silver quarters, these don't have intrinsic silver value. But don't be fooled. Condition and mint errors can still make these quarters quite valuable. The 1980 D quarter had a relatively high mintage, over 351 million coins. That means they're not particularly rare, but despite this, some collectors actively seek out coins from this year, especially in higher grades or with special characteristics. So, what determines the value of your 1980 D quarter? Condition is king. We use a grading scale from good to mint state, with mint state MS coins being uncirculated and having no wear. Here's the breakdown. In circulated condition, that's coins that have been used in everyday transactions and show signs of wear. The 1980 D quarter is worth face value or just a bit more, maybe 250.0, but if you have a 1980 D quarter in good condition, meaning it has visible details, no major scratches or corrosion, and only moderate wear, it could be worth between 100.00. The real value lies in mint state coins, that is, those uncirculated coins that look almost brand new. A 1980 D quarter in MS 60 to MS 65 condition can fetch anywhere from $170 or more, depending on the exact grade and market demand. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC command higher prices. For example, an MS65 graded 1980 D Washington quarter might sell for $300 in today's market. Sometimes, a coin's value skyrockets because of errors or rare varieties. For the 1980 D quarter, some collectors look for double die errors or minting anomalies, which can push prices much higher. While 1980 D Washington quarters aren't widely known for major errors, minor die cracks or doubling can make your coin unique and valuable. Always check your coins carefully, and if you suspect an error, consider getting it professionally evaluated. Today's coin market fluctuates based on collector interest, economic factors, and rarity. While 1980 D quarters aren't the holy grail of coins, a high-grade specimen or error coin can bring a nice payday. If you're thinking about selling, remember that online auctions, coin shows, and local coin shops are great places to start. Always compare offers, and if you have a coin you think might be valuable, getting it graded professionally can maximize your return. So, to sum it up, most 1980 D Washington quarters are worth their face value, but if you have one in good to mint condition or a rare error, you could have a valuable coin on your hands worth anywhere from $1,000 up to $200 or more. 1991 with D Washington quarter, focusing on its value in extremely fine EF-40 condition. If you've got one of these coins tucked away, you might be holding on to more than just pocket change minted at the Denver Mint. The 1991 D Washington quarter boasts a mintage of 613,792,000 coins. While this high mintage suggests abundance, certain grades can still command impressive values. Coin grading is essential in determining a coin's value. The scale ranges from poor P1 to mint state MS70. An extremely fine EF-40 grade indicates a coin with minimal wear, retaining most of its original detail in EF-40 condition. The 1991D Washington quarter is valued between $1,000 depending on factors like toning and eye appeal. While not a high-value coin, its condition can make it a worthwhile addition to a collection. Coins in higher grades can fetch significantly more. For instance, a 1991D Washington quarter graded MF67 has been known to sell for over $1,600 at auction. However, such high-grade examples are rare. When assessing your 1991D Washington quarter, look for sharp details, minimal wear, and attractive toning. Proper storage and handling can preserve its condition, potentially increasing its value over time. While the 1991P Washington quarter EF40 condition may not be a high-value coin, its place in a well-curated collection can be significant. Remember, the value of a coin is not just in its monetary worth, but in the story it tells. Next up, the Washington quarter dollar from 1985, minted in Philadelphia with the famous P mint mark. But here's the twist. We're focusing on coins in damaged condition. You might think damaged coins are worthless, but surprisingly, some of these can still hold value. So how much is a damaged 1985P Washington quarter worth in today's market? The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Since then, it's become one of the most widely circulated coins in the United States. The 1985 quarter is part of the regular circulation series, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P mint mark found on the right side of Washington's portrait. Before we talk value, let's clarify what we mean by damaged condition. In coin collecting, damage can be anything from heavy scratches, corrosion, dents, cleaning marks, or even environmental damage like water exposure or chemical stains. While collectors generally prefer coins in mint or near mint condition, damaged coins still have a story and sometimes a market for reference. A 1985P Washington quarter in uncirculated or mint condition might be worth around $200 depending on grade and market demand. In circulated condition, it's usually worth just its face value of $250, unless it has errors or rare varieties. So, what about damaged coins? Well, damaged coins often sell for less than face value among collectors. However, they can still have some value, especially if they are rare errors or if someone wants them for educational or novelty reasons on the secondary market. A heavily damaged 1985P quarter might fetch anywhere from $230. Why less than face value sometimes? Because damage can severely reduce the coin's appeal for collectors and sometimes even its silver content or intrinsic metal value. Here's an important note. If your 1985P quarter shows any kind of mint error, like double striking, off-center strikes, or die cracks, even if it's damaged, it could be worth more than a typical damaged coin. These errors attract collectors who specialize in mistakes made by the mint. Currently, the coin market is fairly stable. Damaged 1985P quarters typically sell for low prices, mostly for novelty or educational use. If you want to sell yours, consider online platforms like eBay or coin forums. Always disclose the condition clearly to avoid disputes. Next up, the 1981 Washington quarter with the D mint mark, especially when it's in what many would call dirty condition. But don't let the grime fool you. These coins can still be worth money. Most people think only pristine, shiny coins are valuable, but that's not always the case. Sometimes, even dirty or circulated coins can have value. So let's talk about what makes the 1981D Washington quarter special, why collectors care about it, and how much you could expect to get if you find one in your pocket or jar. The Washington quarter series has been one of the most iconic coins in the United States since 1932. The 1981 quarter falls within the standard clad composition era, meaning it's made of copper and nickel rather than silver. It was minted at several locations, including Denver, hence the D mint mark on coins made there. The 1981D quarters were produced in huge quantities, millions upon millions, so on the surface, you might think they're not rare. But as always with coins, condition Mint errors and collector demand play a huge role in value now. When we say dirty condition, we mean coins that have circulated heavily, often found in change jars, wallets, or on the street. These coins show signs of wear, dirt, scratches, or oxidation. While such a condition drastically lowers the coin's collector grade, it doesn't necessarily mean the coin has zero value. Many collectors are interested in coins for their date and mint mark, and sometimes even dirty quarters can be worth more than their face value, especially if there's a unique feature or error presented. A typical circulated 1981D Washington quarter, especially one in dirty or poor condition, is usually worth around $250.00 to collectors. This is above face value, but far from the $100 or more that pristine uncirculated versions might fetch. If you find a 1981 quarter and want to check if it's the Denderman version, look for the small d just below the wreath on the reverse side. That's the key. If your quarter is dirty, don't try to clean it aggressively. Cleaning coins can reduce their value dramatically. Instead, gently rinse it with water and let it air dry. Preserving the natural patina is usually better for collectors. Also, look for any unusual features like double dyes, minting errors, or unique toning. Sometimes, even dirty quarters with such errors can sell for a premium. If you want to sell, check online marketplaces like eBay or visit your local coin shop for appraisal. Keep in mind, most dealers will offer near face value for dirty circulated quarters unless there's a unique feature. But if you're a collector or hobbyist, holding on to these coins can be rewarding as part of your collection, especially if you're aiming to complete a full set of Washington quarters. Next up, the 1971 Washington quarter with the D mint mark, especially in extra fine condition. Stick around because you might just be sitting on a hidden treasure. So, what makes the 1971D Washington quarter special? At first glance, it might look like your everyday pocket change, but in the world of coin collecting, condition and mint marks can make all the difference. D mint mark means this quarter was struck at the Denver Mint in 1971. Millions of these quarters were produced, so you might think they're pretty common. But here's the catch, not all of them survive in high-grade conditions like extra fine or better. Extra fine, or EF, is a coin grading term that means the coin shows only light wear on its highest points, but retains much of its original detail. For the 1971D Washington quarter, this means sharp lettering, clear details on George Washington's profile, and crisp edges. The Washington quarter series has been around since 1932, originally minted to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. By 1971, these quarters were part of everyday life, but collectors value well-preserved pieces from this era as they represent the last years before the switch to clad metal composition. Let's talk numbers. How much is a 1971D Washington quarter worth in extra fine condition today? Prices typically range between $260. That might not sound like a lot, but considering the face value is $200, it's a 20 to 60 times increase for coins graded higher, like about uncirculated or mint state. Prices climb even higher, sometimes hitting $300. Condition is king in coin collecting. Even a small amount of wear can reduce a coin's value significantly. That's why extra fine coins command a premium, because they're rare to find in circulation with minimal wear. So, before you spend or trade your quarters, take a closer look. You might just have a 1971D Washington quarter in extra fine condition that could add some nice value to your collection, or even cash in a little extra cash. Next up, the 1985 quarter dollar with the P mint mark, specifically in fine condition. First, let's get some background on the 1985 quarter dollar. This coin was part of the Washington quarter series, which started in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The coin design features a portrait of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. The P mint mark you see here stands for the Philadelphia Mint, where the majority of U.S. coins are produced. In 1985, over 519 million of these quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, making it a relatively common coin at first glance. So, why is a seemingly common coin like the 1985p quarter potentially valuable? Well, it all comes down to condition and rarity. While millions of these quarters were made, finding one in fine condition with strong eye appeal can be tricky. Over time, many of these coins have circulated heavily, losing their sharpness, luster, and detail. A coin in fine condition means it still retains some details, but it's seen moderate circulation. You'll notice some wear, especially on the high points of the design, but key features like Washington's face and the eagle's feathers are still visible. Additionally, some 1985 quarters may have errors or die varieties, which significantly increase their value. Look out for doubled, -1 off-center strikes or weak strikes. These kinds of minting errors are rare and highly sought after by collectors. Now let's get into the part you're all here for: the value of a 1985 quarter dollar with a P mint mark in fine condition. So, how much can you expect to get for one of these coins today? As of today's market, a standard 1985p quarter in fine condition typically sells for around 25 to 50 cents. Yes, that's right, because these quarters are still fairly common. Their value in lower grades remains close to face value, but here's where things get interesting: error coins and high-grade examples. If you happen to have a 1985p quarter with a significant error, like a double die or an off-center strike, your coin could be worth much more. Depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error, prices for these coins can range from $50 to $200 or even higher. So, if you think you've got a valuable 1985 quarter, what should you do next? First, make sure you accurately assess the condition of your coin. If you're unsure, it's always a good idea to get it graded by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Once you know the grade, you can sell your quarter on online auction platforms like eBay or specialized coin marketplaces. Make sure to include clear photos and a detailed description, especially if your coin has any errors or special features. So, while the 1985p quarter may not make you rich overnight, it's still a fascinating piece of numismatic history. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, keep an eye out for those rare errors or higher grade examples that can truly elevate a coin's value. Next up, the 1980 for Washington quarter with the D mint mark, especially when it's in what many would call dirty condition. But don't let the grime fool you. These coins can still be worth money. Most people think only pristine, shiny coins are valuable, but that's not always the case. Sometimes, even dirty or circulated coins can have value. So let's talk about what makes the 198 for D Washington quarter special, why collectors care about it, and how much you could expect to get if you find one in your pocket or jar. The Washington quarter series has been one of the most iconic coins in the United States since 1932. The 1980 for quarter falls within the standard clad composition era, meaning it's made of copper and nickel rather than silver. It was minted at several locations, including Denver, hence the D mint mark on coins made there. The 198 for D quarters were produced in huge quantities, millions upon millions. So on the surface, you might think they're not rare. But as always with coins, condition, mint errors, and collector demand play a huge role in value. Now, when we say dirty condition, we mean coins that have circulated heavily, often found in change jars, wallets, or on the street. These coins show signs of wear, dirt, scratches, or oxidation. While such a condition drastically lowers the coin's collector grade, it doesn't necessarily mean the coin has zero value. Many collectors are interested in coins for their date and mint mark, and sometimes even dirty quarters can be worth more than their face value, especially if there's a unique feature or error presented. A typical circulated 198 for D Washington quarter, especially one in dirty or poor condition, is usually worth around $250.00 to collectors. This is above face value, but far from the $100 or more that pristine uncirculated versions might fetch. If you find a 1980 for quarter and want to check if it's the Denderman version, look for the small D just below the wreath on the reverse side. That's the key. If your quarter is dirty, don't try to clean it aggressively. Cleaning coins can reduce their value dramatically. Instead, gently rinse it with water and let it air dry. Preserving the natural patina is usually better for collectors. Also, look for any unusual features like double dyes, minting errors, or unique toning. Sometimes, even dirty quarters with such errors can sell for a premium. If you want to sell, check online marketplaces like eBay or visit your local coin shop for appraisal. Keep in mind, most dealers will offer near face value for dirty circulated quarters unless there's a unique feature. But if you're a collector or hobbyist, holding on to these coins can be rewarding as part of your collection, especially if you're aiming to complete a full set of Washington quarters. Next up, the 1995D Washington quarter, specifically those in damaged condition that can still be worth real money on today's market. That's right, we're talking errors, rare varieties, and die anomalies that make even beat-up coins valuable. Now, first things first, 1995 Washington quarters were struck in Danware. That's what the D mint mark stands for, and they're made from the standard copper nickel clad, not silver. But don't click away. Even though these aren't silver coins, they can still fetch silver-like prices, especially with the right kind of damage or mint error mintage. Over 1.1 billion coins struck composition, copper nickel clad, not silver. Designer, John Flanagan. Face value, $800. These quarters are pretty common in circulation. But what makes some of them worth so much more, even when damaged? The answer is simple: errors and die varieties. Next, keep an eye out for clipped plankets, when a part of the coin is missing from a misfeed in the blanking press. Even if the coin is scratched or beat up, collectors love these clips. Expect to get $1,500 to $4,000 for a typical damaged example. Then there's the always eye-catching off-center strike. If you find a 1995D quarter with part of the design missing or shifted off the planchette, even if it's worn or corroded, you're still looking at a value of $3,000 to $10,000 based on how off-center it is and how readable the date remains. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more coin collecting tips, and leave a comment if you've ever found a surprising coin in your pocket change. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting!